Thanks for joining me on About Alberta Tech, which is focused on introducing Alberta tech companies to Albertans. Our goal is to share the innovation and diversity that exists in the province in quick bites. My name is Lenore Thomas, and today I'm joined by Greg Campbell, President and CEO at Spieker Point. Thanks for joining me today, Greg.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And this is Peeves. He's our CFO, Chief Feline Officer, one of 4 office cats we have here.
I love it. Well, thank you for joining us, Peeves. All right, so let's start with some background on you. How did you get into tech?
Ooh, that's entrenched in who I am. I've always been, ever since I was very little, always been a builder, and I've always wanted to build stuff. And very quickly, I discovered technology even before I was out of high school, and then went directly into it and hard for it. With post-secondary education.
Okay, and what does Spieker Point do before I ask you how it started?
Sure, sounds great. So we've been in business for 15 years this September. We are a software development firm. We were doing contract software development prior to about 7 years ago. We still do contract software development, but 7 years ago we pivoted and we built out a baseline product that we call Deck Decisionware. And we build everything now for customers on top of Deck. So still software.
Excellent. And what sort of things do they build on your platform?
Yeah, great question. So typically it's a enterprise level piece of software, meaning that it operates for or is targeted at medium and large size enterprises. And that being said, it sort of automates all aspects of a customer's business process. So business process, analytics, dashboarding, workflow, policy engine, and everything in between. We also have a Slack-like interface built into, or Slack-like chat room built into Deck, which we have to prove out to our customers that it's secure. So it has all of these modules that come together to provide a really nice, tight, integrated enterprise ecosystem.
So essentially, rather than going out and buying an off-the-shelf solution, they can come in and take an end-to-end process and put it in one place and have everyone trained on that process, which makes it a lot easier.
Well, yes and no. So, Lenore, from the point of view of an enterprise, typically what happens is they buy what's called an ERP, stands for Enterprise Resource Planner. It might be big like SAP. It might be a smaller one, like something like Microsoft Dynamics or something like that. But the point with all of these ERPs is that they typically don't touch all of the data of a customer's. They only operate with, typically that financial data, and maybe there's an inventory module and stuff like that on top of it. And then an ERP will typically license on a per user cost per month. Whereas we license Deck completely differently. We license it on the modules that are in use to solve a customer's issue. And what we see is an environment where we get, let's say a 2,000 person company or even a 150 person company that brings all of their customers and all of their vendors onto the software. So, we have customers that have 150,000 users on top of their software. We even have one customer that has over 1 million users on their software right now.
Wow.
It's a much, exactly. It's a much different scale of software even than ERPs typically see. And also from a security perspective, you want to ensure that a particular customer isn't seeing other customers' data or enterprise data that our customer has on that software. So way different.
Wow. Yeah, and talk about having to deal with scalability and performance there. Whew.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Lenore. In terms of there's a term in the industry called bit rot, and typically bit rot can mean a bunch of different things. But what bit rot often means is that the initial version of a piece of software was targeted for a particular size of user base, and perhaps actually the vendor of that software got hit by too much success, and they haven't been able to rewrite that software to manage the level of users that they have now. Well, the team here at Spieker Point is so world class that when we were really sitting down and thinking through what we were going to build inside of DEC, we took a bigger approach to it. And in technical terms, DEC is completely decoupled for sort of countrywide, country scale financial backbones that is much, much different than what people normally start with. So, one of the advantages, especially of the customer strain that we have, or a thread of customers that are software companies themselves, what we bring to the table is being able to offer that scalability way off into the future, and the fact that bit rot is just going to be so far down the path that they don't even have to worry about that. That's
great. I know that's always one of the questions. If you're looking at a significant number of users, 150,000 or 1 million, I mean, you still have to make it so they can use it at that scale. So the fact you've taken that into consideration is great. Okay.
Yeah,
so why did you start Spieker Point? What made you get into custom development?
Well, again, I've always been technical. I've always wanted to build things, and that's really what constructing Spieker Point was all about. Both building things as well as treating employees and customers right, doing the right thing, making the right decisions in terms of the technical decisions, and trying to build a great team. And we've been very successful at being able to do that. So been fantastic.
That's awesome. And why did you move from that custom development into having more of a solution specifically?
Yeah, great question. So we prior to DEC, what we were seeing is that pretty much every system we built, had to have user security in it and had to have multi-factor authentication, and a host of other things. So we just decided that we needed to be able to, build that stuff once, come to market much, much quicker for a particular customer, hit market windows and things like that. And as well, let's call it amortize all of the testing and security testing inside of the product over one piece of kit, one piece of software, versus trying to redo that every time for every customer. Yeah.
Oh, that would make a huge difference in terms of your rollout time. My goodness.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we have hit the right formula of that sort of balance in the ecosystem of all of that.
Okay. And what are you guys growing towards?
Well, we are not growing towards an exit. That's something that we don't have our sights set on. We want to build a world-class company that sits here, headquartered in Alberta, and to do some really amazing things. And freedom 95, meaning that I'm not looking for retirement anytime soon. It's having too much fun.
That's cool. I like that, freedom 95.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What else do you think our community should know about you and about Spieker Point?
Well, I think Spieker Point, as well as a number of other companies out there in around the Alberta region, are kind of these hidden gems. We're not American companies by any stretch. We don't toot our own horns, and I think there's lots of us that are in that same boat. So, efforts like this that you're doing here, Lenora, are absolutely perfect in terms of, shedding some light onto those companies that are, let's call it the stereotypical Canadian companies. We also get a lot of traction in other geographic regions and very little here at home. We're trying to change that with some of the efforts we've got going on right now. And I think that's the same with a lot of the Alberta companies. There's this whole, you know, if it's built in Alberta, it can't be any good perspective that comes from the customer base out there. And I think it's quite the opposite, actually. I think we've got a great reputation inside of Alberta for, you know, good quality technical companies that are absolutely world class. You know, and we want to build on that.
Definitely. There are so many out there, and we just need to introduce people to them. So
exactly. Yeah. So thanks for your effort on this as well, Laura.
Hey, thank you. It's fun meeting people, even virtually, given the times, and just learning about what they're doing. So I love it.
Great. Well, good for you.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Peeves is gone, so his pleasure as well.